All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army Match Week #1. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna hit the Premier League, where we'll sort of fold our knee-jerk reactions to Week 1 into a de facto season preview, where we will sort of predict the ceiling and the floor for every one of the 20 clubs. And then we will head straight to stoppage time, where we'll hit Ivan Toney's best bets and everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of Tweedles, starting with none other than Mr. Mitchell Goulet, who I was sent a screenshot, or I assume a photo, of a very nice-looking facility where you're playing soccer these days and apparently working out. So why don't you tell the people? Give the people clue us in on where this is and what it's all about.
Close by. It is affordable, and there's a soccer pitch that is available 20-ish hours a day, as long as nobody has a permit to it. And since I'm semi-employed, I have all day during like the normal work day to play by myself on a field indoors. There's basketball courts, there's a weight room, there's a swimming pool, and that is about the extent that I feel comfortable sharing, because I do not want any of you joining my gym.
We knew that you weren't going to tell it, but we wanted to make you publicly keep it. It does look like a really nice place.
It's a nice
so
spot,
if anybody
yeah.
out there, if you know where Mitch lives specifically, and you can geolocate the gyms around him with a nice soccer facility, let us know
right now. Enough.
Well, there we go. Mr. Mikey Fowler, Mr. Mikey Podcast, as he has sometimes been known, is... You can keep this one short if you want. Is moving to London back on the menu?
100%.
Okay, give us the odds that it actually happens now.
20.
Okay, 20%. That's not as high as I thought you were going to say, but also, it's not nothing. So we'll go with it.
I've got people begging me to move all over the place now that I'm available.
So what's the highest on the list right now?
Greg's trying to get me to go to Charlotte and live next to him and be a part of his day-to-day life, which sounds awesome, but we'll see.
And also makes a lot of sense since that's your boss.
And I would travel with him for Fox and all that fun stuff. It'd be a whole new life, but we'll see.
All right. A lot of options out there. All right. Let's move on to the Premier League. So we are one game in, and everything sucks. Everything sucks, and I wish the Premier League would go away again, because Tottenham are 17th place Spurs are right back into where we belong, actually. We're in 18th place, believe it or not. So it was a fun weekend that was. Just quickly, the results that if you were living under a rock. So Arsenal beat Coventry handily, 3-0. Hull started off Saturday morning with a bang, beating Manchester United at Hull City, 2-0. Ipswich Town beat Sunderland 2-1. Everton 2-0 over Palace. Nottingham Forest and Leeds played probably the most boring game of the Premier League season, perhaps. Leeds won 1-0 on a last-moment free kick. Brentford beat the brakes off of Tottenham 3-0. Manchester City came back late with 2 goals to beat Bournemouth 2-1. Brighton, speaking of beating the brakes off of, they just boat raced Aston Villa. Scored 4 goals in like the first half hour. Then they got a red card, or Villa got a red card, and that was pretty much the game. Newcastle-Liverpool, maybe the most entertaining game. Well, actually, it was the most entertaining game of the weekend. Finished 2-2, and then maybe the most entertaining game of the match week just finished a moment ago with Chelsea taking down Fulham 3-2. So there we go. What we're going to do here is, on the suggestion of Mikey, we're going to start at the bottom of the table currently and go to the top, and we'll give everybody our predictions for where we think everybody. It's kind of the highest we can see somebody finishing and the lowest we can see them finishing. So we're going to start with Aston Villa, a very interesting club. Finished 4th last season on 65 points. They lost a ton of players, or at least influential players. The Morgan Rogers is off to Chelsea, Tielemans to United. They lost Onana for a large part of the season to injury. They got some interesting guys coming in with Johan Manzambi and Joao Gomez. Joao Gomez specifically had quite an interesting first week. So, they're trying to fill the holes, but they got a lot of gaps to fill, and they're going to be playing in Champions League. So, coming off of this week 1 hard or big loss at Brighton, Mikey, let's start with you. Where do you got Aston Villa coming in this season?
Emery's such a streaky guy that I think. I mean, if you remember last year, they took 5 weeks to score a goal, and then came on really, really strong. They know they have to buy. There's an emergency going on currently. I think the highest they can finish is fifth, fourth or fifth again. I think they could get there. I think it's going to be an enormous undertaking, but Emery does have a way of, much like the old Arsenal teams that knew they weren't any good but managed to get back to the Champions League. I think there's some of that in Emery and Villa. So I think that's their ceiling. And I think the lowest they could probably finish is right outside the relegation zone. I'm going to say 14th. They have a huge window for me, a huge gap. If they don't address things, they could be very much looking at a relegation scrap by the time the January window opens. I don't think it's going to be the case, but it could go much either way.
Wow, that's a pretty spicy meatball for a team coming off of a 4th place finish and will be playing in Champions League, which gets them money, but also that means you got to play Champions League, which extends your squad a little bit. Okay, Mitch, what do you take off of what Mikey just said? Do you think that there the variance as wide as he has it?
Out of this whole list, they have my largest window. And it's easy to have like a knee-jerk reaction after that result in week 1. And sometimes you can look at a 4-0 defeat and say, oh, well, you got a red card in the first half. That's the reason for it. Could have been 4-0 with 11 men on the pitch. Could have been 6-0 with 11 men on the pitch. That penalty shout from the tackle from Barkley, that could have been a goal. There was a couple missed chances as well in the second half. I have their ceiling at 6th. I don't think they play Champions League football, but I do think Mikey makes a good point that they have an urgency to buy now. They realize where their gaps are now, as opposed to getting a month into the season, being outside the transfer window, and then realizing, oh shit, we have vacancies that we need to fill. So I have their ceiling at 6th and their floor at 14th.
Okay. You got I don't have their floor being quite as low as you guys, but after what we just saw from them against Brighton, I certainly it makes my argument a little tougher to make. The fact that they could still lose Ollie Watkins as well definitely plays into this. I've got their ceiling being a little higher. I think they could get 5th, just at absolute upper case, and maybe that's getting dropped out of Champions League early. And assuming that they make some buys in the last couple weeks here, I got their ceiling more in like the 11th. I don't think that they're going to be drawn into like a relegation battle. That's asking a lot. But then, of course, if you add in like if they lose Konsa as well, like man, their whole team. We talk a lot about like Newcastle being decimated, and we will get to that. But like Aston Villa is kind of right there with them. So I got from anywhere from 5th to I think it was about 11th or so.
Next to the team. That's confirmed.
It is? It's confirmed.
Yeah, he signed, yeah.
Jeez. All right. Villas, they got to buy quickly. And they're not alone. There's a lot of teams out there. City's out there. Spurs are out there. Newcastle probably out there. There's a lot of teams out there looking for players. Next up, we got 19th place Coventry. So one of the newly promoteds. I do think that people coming into the season had them as the strongest of the newbies. But they actually had the worst result of the newly promoted. Although, let's be serious. They had to go to Arsenal. So tough first week. Mitch, we'll start with you with Coventry. Where do you have them?
Yeah, playing the defending champions at home in your first week is not a friendly welcome to the Premier League season.
Not ideal.
Ceiling is 15th, floor is probably 19th. I think they're better than the other 2 promoted teams, but it's really hard to draw any conclusions from that Arsenal game, especially when we had the ball the majority of the time. They didn't create a single chance because we were better than they were. I don't have many insights from that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, also, you guys, your defense, even without Saliba, is pretty good. I'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, like Coventry, they were the most complete of the teams in the championship by far last season. So, I do think that they have some hope. Obviously, the first week at Arsenal is real tough introduction to the Premier League. I actually am exactly with you. I have their ceiling being 15th and their floor being, say, 19th. I think that they'll have to be better than like an Ipswich or a Hull City, although obviously tough way to start. Mikey, what do you got?
16th to 19th.
Okay, we're all in the same boat here. And again, it's tough to take anything away from a week 1 loss at Arsenal. 17th place Spurs are in 18th place at the moment after getting our asses handed to us. Yes, Mikey, you want to go first? Go for it.
We had first of all, shout out our Patreon listeners. We had what we called, a little happy hour the other day. And Sam said that the highest Spurs could finish is 3rd and the lowest was 10th. So Sam, you go first.
Highest they could finish 3rd. Lowest they could finish
Still,
10th. Yes.
You
Yes.
haven't changed.
Mike, brother.
Lowest you could finish is 10th. Lowest you could finish is 10th.
Yes. Yeah, I'd
You
be
promise.
I'd be very disappointed.
What would you be willing to put on the line?
I don't know. I'd have to actually think about that for a little while. I'm open to discussions. But yes, I think that this team taking like some sort of huge takeaway from that loss, as bad as it looked, certainly on paper, 3-0. Let's keep some things in mind. Brentford is good. I think Brentford could push for a Champions League spot. They lost like nobody. Sangare, by the way, what a fucking player that guy is. Holy moly. Him and Solis are probably the 2 standout new signings from that week 1 that I've been most impressed with. But Sangare he was the best player on the field. And obviously our midfield is very exciting, very new, very expensive. And we were just not that good. But that's week 1. Like I'm not willing to sort of change my predictions for where I see this team going in the long term based on that one result against a good Brentford team at Brentford, which is never fun to play. And I think that we'll get, a couple more guys like this Tottenham. The fact that they're spending as much as they're spending it feels weird. I don't mind it. It's not my money, but we need Marmoush. Like the Richarlison and Solanke just aren't doing it for me. I thought De Zerbi's tactics in that first game was terrible. And his sort of personnel, like Gallagher's are 10. I mean, what the fuck is that all about? So I think that De Zerbi got it wrong. I think our players had a bad game. Bergvall obviously didn't play very well at all either. Toney didn't play that well. Like, who did play well? I don't even know. Kinski gave up some bad rebounds. I think that'll be, I'm not saying it's a one-off. I just think it points to where we are right now. And I think where we'll be in, say, 2 months is just a very different team. And I'm sticking with my 3rd to 10th. So what's your response to that? Where do you have Spurs top bottom?
I don't think that this Spurs team, as built, can qualify for the Champions League.
So you're saying 6th or even lower?
I'm going to say 7th is the highest you should possibly want this season.
And that includes with, like a Savinho and a Marmoush and that sort of play.
It does, yeah.
Okay. All right. You're a hater.
How solid is Savinho and Marmoush? Are those deals through, or are those
I think Savinho unfortunately, it sounds like Savinho is basically done and Marmoush is close. I wish it was the other way around because I think Marmoush is a far more important player, but it sounds pretty solid. I mean, I don't, they're transfer rumors. So at the end of the day, it sounds like the deal is kind of complicated because they're playing funny math and financially engineering the numbers. So, the city has to pay less in fees or whatever, but it sounds pretty good. I don't know what I'll say. Where do you have this team finishing with and without Savinho and Marmoush?
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
your ceiling is 7th. Your ceiling is 7th.
That feels
3rd place.
That feels low. That feels low.
You could come in 3rd in a game of 2 teams, but you are not coming in 3rd place in the Premier League with this team with that coach. With Klinsky as your goalkeeper. He's dog shit.
Coach, are you
Who's
a
on
De
your bench?
Dubravka?
Put him in. Klinsky, listen, I've seen too much of Klinsky that has upset me as a rival fan.
He is a good goalkeeper, and he's good with his feet. Obviously, he's had some very high-profile errors. that have perhaps sort of clouded your perception of him as a keeper. If you're not watching like every Spurs game, he's a good keeper though. I'm not out on him at all. That was a bad game. I'll give you that. I'm
He
not
could
out
have
on
some
Kinski.
real legacy performances in the Conference League next season. I think your floor is like 14th with this team. You looked really, really lost out there, and the addition of some more attacking players like Savinho, like Marmoush, will make a difference. But I still think you're porous at the back, and the tactics just don't seem there. So,
That's fair, but keep in mind we were also missing guys like Van de Ven and Pedro Porro, and like we're missing some important players to this team in that first week. So
is this a flashback to last season?
Sort of. It's just a continuation.
Is, we're missing this guy. We're missing that. Yeah. All right.
It's a continuation. I'm sticking with my third to 10th.
On Sangare, I watched him one game at Forest a couple of years ago, and immediately, like, he was the best player on that field on that game, and I immediately bought like 3 rookie cards of his. Like, I went on eBay and searched up a couple rookie cards, and they've come good. There was a couple seasons in the middle where I was like, oh, I wasted a little money there. It wasn't anything big. It was, $100 worth of Sangare rookie cards. But now I'm holding those for the rest of the season.
You're definitely in the money already, and you could be very well in the money soon enough. All right, next we'll go to Manchester United, a team that I was pretty high on them coming into the season. I liked the business that they've done over the last couple of years, which I think is a new feeling for Manchester United. But then they haven't really done much this summer. Interestingly enough, Tielemans and Santos, to shore up the middle of the pitch, but like they need a left back at a minimum, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're in for more. Mikey, what do you got on Manchester United floor and ceiling here?
That was the most lifeless performance of the weekend by far. The most jarring, I think, because if you watch the last 15 minutes of that, it wasn't even back foot Hull holding on. It was quite comfortable. Guys weren't really bought in. Maguire's pulling his own defender away from defensive actions. It was an absolute mess. I think they have correct me if you've heard this one before. I think they have a manager problem.
You're out on Carrick already?
Yeah.
Now, is it based on that one game, or was it based on more than that?
I don't get a lot of I don't know what it is. When you see it, you can tell if somebody's commanding a room. I just don't think he is. I don't think that anybody's scared of Michael Carrick.
You're not just he doesn't have enough gravitas for you.
He doesn't. Not to be the Manchester United manager. I can't see him lifting trophies with that team. So my answer, the highest they can finish, I believe, is 4th place. Ask me before last week, and I would have said 2nd. I think it's 4th, and I do think that they have a problem. And I think the lowest it could go is 9. I think it could be an out of Europe season again for United.
Okay, I'm not that far off of you. I'm sticking with my original prediction, which I haven't said before, but at least I had it, which was I think I'm seeing their ceiling at 2nd because City and Chelsea and everybody else have a ton of questions themselves. So I think in a perfect world, they stay healthy. Perhaps they get knocked out of Champions League early. I think Manchester City could perhaps get 2nd. I think there's no chance that they finish 1st. And I have their floor at 8th. So we're not that far off. Mitch, where you got Manchester United?
Lower on them as a whole. I have their ceiling at 4th, just barely scraping into Champions League, and their floor at 10th. What we saw on the weekend, I didn't watch the full match, to be fair. I'm not going to wake up at 7:30 to watch United. But what we saw on the weekend was uninspired. They have business to do. They have money to spend, so they should do that. And realistically, they'll come in 5th or 6th, but their absolute ceiling is 4th.
And keep in mind, they finished 3rd last season after on the back of like a very strong second half. But they weren't playing in Europe. They weren't playing a lot of extra games. So it's going to be different. this time around. So I do think that might drag on them. They got to do some business. I think we're all in agreement on that. All right, 15th place, or yes, 15th, basically tied with Manchester United at the moment. Crystal Palace. This is an interesting one for me coming into this season. So they had a pretty tough season last year, finishing way down in the table. Where was it? So 15th place, but they won FA Cup, so they earned a Europa League spot. Mitch, where do you got Palace's floor and ceiling?
Ceiling at 7th, floor at 13th or so.
Ooh, you're higher on Palace than me. I think this has been a tough season for Palace.
I don't know. I think when I made this list full of teams, the bulk of the middle of the table is super ambiguous. It's a bunch of teams that like can get results against better sides, but are also susceptible to dropping points against sides worse than they are on paper. And Palace is kind of usually a team like that. And this season, I don't think it's going to be much different.
And so my response to that is, you're right. Over the course of the last however many seasons, it has been like that. But the fact that they've just lost so much talent over the years, to the Arsenals, Bayerns, Man Cities of the world, and now they've lost Glasner, the manager, to Nottingham Forest. I think this is the season that I think Palace could actually go down. So I actually have their ceiling being lower than yours. So I have it about 12th, and I have them, their lowest they could go is 19th. I think they could be bad this season, especially with Europa sort of dragging them down in the midweek. Mikey, where are you at?
I don't quite think 19th. I would say 16th. And I'd say the ceiling is right around mid-table 10th.
I mean, I think that my argument for that, and I do think that game against Everton this weekend certainly doesn't dissuade me from thinking the Palace might be in trouble. But I just think, like, they've lost Lacroix. Like, they just keep losing players. And, who have they brought in that make, like, Dwight McNeil? Is he going to be the fucking answer? So I just got a lot of question marks with Palace. So I'm a little lower on them than you guys are. Next up, Nottingham Forest. Coming off of, kind of not a great season last year. Once I get my notes there. So they finished 16th place, right behind Palace. They did steal Palace's manager. So Oliver Glasner is there. They got Ousmane Diomande from Sporting Lisbon in the center back position, which I think is pretty good. But obviously they lost Elliot Anderson to Man City for a lot of money. So I do think that this is a team that's probably going to be buying some players over the next couple of weeks. But Mikey, where do you have floor and ceiling for Nottingham Forest? The team that just lost to Leeds, by the way, 1-0.
A couple things. They're relying very heavily on Morgan Gibbs-White, who's already picked up a small knock. So he needs to have 10-10 this season for them to have any chance at Europe. And I think that that's a lot to ask of a player. That being said, I do think that he is great. I think Jesus is going to, second season with a big striker, I think he's going to come good. Everything there is in place. They have the funds to spend. They have a manager they believe in. I think they'll get better as the year goes on. The best time I think to play Forest is now. In these next 2 months. I think they'll get stronger as the year goes on. It's just a matter of how many points they can pick up until they find their form. I think their ceiling is 8th. I don't think they're a European team, but I think they can get really, really close, make a push. And I think the lowest they'll finish is honestly 12th. I can't see that team capitulating or falling apart. I like the way they're built. I like Diomande. I like Glasner. They have a solid system. I truly think that they're fine.
That's a pretty small variance there. Would you have?
I know. I think I know exactly where Forest is going to finish. I think I would put them 10th if I had to.
Interesting.
Or 9th.
I got them a lot lower than that. I got from 11th to 17th. I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't surprise me if Marinakis, gets drunk and just fucking fires Glasner, in which case they're, before they get to that point where he's got the team sort of clicking the way that Palace tended to do. So I don't know. I'm a little more out on them. Mitch, where are you at on Forest?
I also have a pretty small window right smack dab in the middle of the table. I have them at 9th to 13th. I think they are a good team, and depending on who they splash money on here in the coming weeks, then we can see that number, that window shift up or down by a little bit, but I don't think they're a European team, and I don't think they're going to be in a relegation battle at all. I think that's the meat of the table right there.
Okay. Now we move up to 13th place in the table, which one of the most interesting. We got some kids that are screaming in the background. Cut that, Mr. Producer, Editor. Sunderland. One of the more interesting stories of last season, perhaps the most interesting story of last season, finishing in 7th place on 54 points. This is a team that a lot of people had finishing, like 19th coming into the season. They finished in a Europa League spot, and then they went and bought absolutely almost nobody. Thomas Meunier, I believe, is the only player they brought in, mid-30s defender from Lille. Yikes! This is a team that has to be buying. I don't really understand the thought process here. They were obviously one of the most aggressive clubs in last summer's transfer window, and now they're just doing nothing. It's very strange. I do think that they're going to be making some moves, but losing in the first week to a newly promoted team in Ipswich it's not a good start for them. I'm a little nervous. Mitch, where you got Sunderland this season?
Yeah, I think going into the season, like if you had asked me a week ago before that Ipswich result, I would have had them. I would have been higher on them based on last season's performance, but not bringing in anybody so far and then losing to a newly promoted team. Yeah. I got their ceiling at 9th and their floor at 15th. I don't think they're making a push. I mean, based on their business so far, it doesn't look like they're making a push for European football. Just trying to stay up and maintain, I guess, for a little bit, but was not impressed with that Ipswich game.
Mikey?
Yeah, I'm going to go another narrow window. I think the best that this team can finish is 12th. I don't think they're a top half team. I don't think they have the goals. And I don't believe in Brian Brobby. So take that, Brian Brobby. Why don't you prove me wrong and score some goals for my fantasy team? I don't think that he has the firepower to get them through and get them over the line. I think 12th, and I think the lowest they could possibly be is 18th, because I do think that they could have themselves a fight on their hands.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've gone a little lower than Mitch for sure. I've got them anywhere from 12th to 18th in the table. I think that they, as constructed right now, I think they're absolutely going to be in a relegation battle, especially when they're playing in the midweek in Europa. So, and I do think, by the way, so these teams like Palace and Sunderland, they actually have a chance to go far in a competition like Europa or Conference League, because they're playing teams that in terms of financial firepower are certainly below them. So even though they're levels below the the bigger teams in the Premier League, they could be playing in April in the Europa or Conference League, which will end up having a deleterious effect on their season in the Prem. All right, we'll move to Bournemouth. even on points with a whole bunch of teams, but so Bournemouth came into this season off of a very strong. So when I think of the B teams like Bournemouth, Brighton, and Brentford, they kind of meld together in a certain sense. Obviously, they are very different, but they do good business and they overperform. So in that sense, I kind of think of them together. So last season, Bournemouth finished 6th. Hell of a season. Now, since then, of course, they've lost their manager, Andoni Iraola, to Liverpool. That obviously will have an impact, at least you would think, unless he's going to be Thomas Frank 2.0 and get completely exposed as a useless plug. I don't think that's going to be the case. But so they lost him, they lost Senesi, they've lost a ton of talent over the last couple of years. Semenyo left in January, Krupi got injured. So I think there's a lot of question marks to this Bournemouth team. They did look pretty good in week 1 against City. They went up 1-0 and kind of tried to bunker and hang on, and it almost worked until City finally got 2 goals right at the end. Mitch, what do you got Bournemouth this season?
I got to show them a little bit of respect based on how much they overperformed last season and this game against City. City just, year after year, continue to love to win from behind. I talked to my statistician right before we went on, and he said that in the past 5 years, City has the most come from behind wins in all the top 5 leagues, and you can check that stat too. It's kind of nuts. And as somebody who had a draw in that game, I was a little upset. I think Bournemouth's ceiling is sixth because I can't drop them based on what they did last season and this first week performance. I have to give them the respect that they've earned and say that their ceiling is another sixth place finish. And I think their floor is probably 10th. I think they finish top half for sure. Kind of a toss up as to if they play European football and if so, which division they play in. But I like them. They looked competent against one of the best teams in the league, in the world, Man City. And so I think they'll finish top half.
Wow. Okay, you're a little higher than it sounds like. I mean, Iraola, that's a loss. So I was thinking that they're going to take a step back over that, if not that alone. But you're higher on them. And listen, to be fair, they always do good business, and so like I do think doubting them do that at your peril. So fair enough, Mikey.
Not as high on them. I think they have a ton of 20 to 40 million pound players. And I think that in the last 2 years, nobody's made more money and done more business than them. Krupi will come back. I think he'll probably move in January for another 80 to 100 million. I think they'll continue to play mid-table Premier League football, never flirting with the top or the bottom. I think their ceiling is eighth, maybe seventh. I've said a lot of eighths, so I'll go seventh. And the lowest I think they could possibly finish is 11th. I think they're right in that window too.
Wow, I got their ceiling be a little lower. I got ninth. I think that playing in Europa, losing your manager, and all the talent that's kind of gotten siphoned away over the years, I think that this might be the year they take a little step back. They're playing in Europe, which will drag. So unlike Brentford, which is they finished just below Bournemouth and they didn't make Europa or Conference League, I think that will weigh on them a little bit. So I've got like ninth through. I don't think that they could be in the relegation battle necessarily, but maybe 17th or so, which is, listen, losing your manager like that, you could go Brentford's way and just get better, or you could go the other way. I think Uraola, I think he's a good manager, and he took them from 12th to 9th to 6th over the last 3 years. That's crazy for the amount of money that they're spending. And they lost a lot of talent, as I've said repeatedly. We'll move up to Fulham in 12th place. So Fulham just got done playing Chelsea at home. Very fun game for those of us that bet on the over. They lost 3-2. A lot of wild cards here. So Alvaro Arbeloa coming over from Real Madrid as the new manager. Obviously, that's a big question mark. Marco Silva seemed to be just like, I was high on him, at least for Fulham. I don't really know much about the players they brought in. They brought a couple guys in from Real Madrid. Gonzalo Garcia looked pretty solid up top today against Chelsea. Mikey, what are you thinking about Fulham? And this is a team that loses Harry Wilson, by the way, which I think is actually kind of a big loss.
Yeah, I think Fulham could finish sixth. I think that's a perfect season. I think they're a very good side. I think they're versatile. I think that they're strong, and I think they also have a big variance for me. I lean towards them making a European push this season. I will, for the sake of this game, I'm not going to say that they should capitulate. I will put them between 10th and 6th.
Wow, that is a pretty high floor and ceiling.
I'm high on Fulham.
Interesting. Mitch, where you got them?
Similar, 6th and 11th. Yeah, I think they're deep. I think they have goals in the lineup, and I think they have the ability to just focus on the Prem this season. And they've proven now that they can. They've proven over the past 3 years that they can hang with larger sides. This Chelsea game that we saw today was like super open and back and forth, and I think that actually benefits Fulham, especially with like the runners that they have on the outside. I like them. Yeah, 6th is their ceiling.
All right, you guys are higher on them. I think that there's a world in which Fulham could get dragged into a relegation battle. I don't think that they're going to go down, but I think there's a world where they could at least be flirting around that 16th, 17th area in the spring. Newcastle, team that's just sort of, I don't know. We heard so much about how much money that they had and how much, how they're going to buy everybody, and Saudi money is going to ruin the game. and all that's happened since then is everybody's come and bought all their players. With Isak, Guimaraes, Tonali, lost Eddie Howe, obviously. In the first week of the season, they look pretty good. They brought in some young guys. People were making fun or joking it was their U23 squad, but they went toe to toe with Newcastle, finished 2-2. Mikey, where do you got Newcastle this season?
I am not high on Newcastle. I think Newcastle would be absolutely thrilled with finishing in 7th place this season. And I think they could possibly fall as far as 13th. I think that they are firmly mid-table. I haven't put anybody in the top or the bottom yet. I'm excited to get to that part of the evening. But everyone's right in the middle for me. I'm having a tough time. But I don't think Newcastle have the firepower, and I don't think that they have the squad depth at this point to sustain something, especially something significant. So I'm going to say Europa or conference for them is the goal, and finishing not with your head in your hands, mortified at your results all season is the goal.
And is that a relegation battle, basically?
Yes.
Okay. Or basically, don't be Tottenham.
Correct.
Mitch, what do you got for Newcastle?
I'm a wee bit higher on them. I have them at ceiling is 4th, floor is 9th. I do think they have the capacity to crack into Champions League, but I'm not convinced that they have the roster that will take them into like a top 4 spot over the course of the season. I don't think I think they're upper middle table, and that's it. But I don't think we're going to be talking about them as title contenders at all. They would be thrilled with Champions League, I think. Like you said,
sure.
They'd be thrilled with 6th or 7th?
Yeah, 7th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's lower than I have them, but I think 4th is a reasonable ceiling for them.
I'm a little lower on Newcastle. I think that they're a bottom half team this season. Like, they need to bring some guys in.
You're just stacking the bottom half so you can support your Tottenham coming in 3rd bullshit.
There's a possibility there. It's not intentional, I swear.
Sure.
But yeah, you're not wrong, perhaps. Liverpool. So the team that they drew 2-2 with, a team that comes in with, coming off the back of a summer where they spent heavily, and then Arne Slot, fell out of favor. They brought in Areola. It seems like they're going to bring in some more guys. Bradley Barcola. I don't know where that deal is, but it seems like there's enough smoke that there must be some fire there. I think this is a team that clearly needs to bring in multiple, actual difference makers if they're going to be in the title shout or in a title race. Mikey, where you got Liverpool this season?
Liverpool can finish 3rd. I think that's the absolute ceiling. I think it's funny that we all saw the right back issue last year. They haven't addressed it. That's an enormous issue. Somebody today I read said that Frimpong attacks like a defender and defends like an attacker, which I thought was really good. Kirkez, I think, is a really good player. I think I said this in the Discord, but I think Alanga is going to give a lot of people a lot of fits this year, so I'm not super concerned about Kirkez on the left. I think they're going to be fine. The midfield needs to figure itself out. It'll take a little bit of time. Rio does not look comfortable on the right-hand side, nor does Victor Munoz. Victor Munoz, again, only had a 30-minute cameo, so you can't really say much. But I think that they'll be fine. 3rd is, I think, the absolute ceiling for them. I don't think they're pushing for a title with this roster. And I think the lowest they could finish is 6th. I think they're firmly in that Champions League spot. I think they're a Champions League side for us.
Okay. I'm not too far off of you. I think I got their ceiling as 2nd for the same reasons I said on Manchester United. I mean, Chelsea and Manchester City, they got a lot of questions. So I could see one of them taking a step back. And I'm assuming Liverpool spend some more money in this window and add some players. Mitch, where you got them?
Same as you. Ceiling is 2nd. floor is probably fifth. I think realistically, it's more like third, but their final place is third. I think that roster, particularly that midfield, is too talented to be saying, "Oh, we'll give them some time. They got to figure it out and play together." Verts has had a full season. Gravenberch is obviously a quality player. Zoboslai, I am in love with how Zoboslai plays. I think he's phenomenal. He can strike a ball better than anybody in the league. He's really creative. I think he's got a great technique. I think he can and should be a premier player for them. He should probably have 20 goal contributions plus this season. Isak needs to be the goal scoring threat that we saw him be at Newcastle. He had a little bit of an asterisk on his last season because of playing time and abnormality in his rotation minutes. But I think if they are to figure out a lineup that works for them, they need to be fighting for a title. Do I think they'll win it? No, but I think their ceiling is set.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge season for Isak, and that was obviously not the first opening game that you wanted. It's certainly not the situation. He just looked sort of, overawed and perhaps intimidated with the situation going to Newcastle, and the Newcastle fans let him know how unhappy they are with him. He just looked a little off. I think this is going to be a good season for him. I do think that Liverpool, well, first of all, he has to score a bunch of goals if they're going to do anything. I think one of the more interesting players is Wirtz. Mikey, where are you at with Wirtz at this point?
I thought he had a good debut. Everyone was laughing about the hook. He had a good first game of the season. I thought he was active. I thought he looked really, really sharp. He's never gonna. This is the problem with the conversation around transfer fees. He's never gonna have double-digit goals or assists in a season. I could see his great year being 7 and 8 or something along those lines. Does he make your front four tick? Does the ball fly around? Is there good movement? Does a striker that plays with him score 20 plus goals? Does a winger that plays with him have 25 goal involvements? That's how you're going to judge a guy like Wirtz. I'm not off of the train whatsoever. And I think if Isak scores 15 plus goals this year, you're going to see a lot of people say that that's a lot of the time due to Florian Wirtz's movement and his contribution, maybe not directly.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to Leeds. So Leeds came up with a tidy 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest this weekend. Unfortunately, I was at the official watch party for Nottingham Forest, which was here in Chicago. And actually, shout out to the Forest fans. There were people that had traveled from like Delaware and from like northern Wisconsin, Ashland, Wisconsin. Shout out that were there for that, and there were a lot of people there. Unfortunately, they did not have much entertainment from the game. That was a really bleak game. But anyway, back to Leeds. Let's see. So last season, they finished 14th, 47 points. They brought in James Trafford from Manchester City, which is just a funny story. They bought him for 47 million euros. That's a lot for a backup keeper who didn't play at all last season. Bringing in Harry Wilson, I thought was a great move for them. And the center back from Sassuolo, who I won't even try and pronounce. You want to give it a shot, Mikey? Maharomovic?
Mahomerovic.
Yeah, okay, that was pretty close. Mitch,
Pretty close.
It was. I pretty much nailed it. Mitch, what do you got for Leeds this season?
I have their ceiling at 10th, and I have their floor at 16th. I don't really think that they're going to finish 16th. I think it's more like 11th or 12th. If they are to do anything this season, Calvert-Lewin has to stay healthy for the entire year and kind of play out of his socks. I don't think any team with Brennan Aronson as their starting winger finishes in the top half of the Premier League. We have seen. I am a Brennan Aronson fan. I just think there's levels. And he has contributed to this Leeds team, and I know that Leeds fans probably like him because of the effort that he shows on the pitch, but I don't think he has the ability that like a top half Premier League winger does. I'm sorry. And I love when Brendan Aronson plays for the red, white, and blue, and he comes on in 70 minutes and he gives the opposing left and right backs hell. But I just don't think that over the course of a Premier League season, he is your guy. That's more Brendan Aronson hate than I had prepared to spew on this episode, truly. But that's kind of one of my main things about Leeds is, maybe if they spend some money and they use Aronson as a super sub and he can kind of play a versatile role for them. But ceiling is 10th for me.
I did not see this Brendan Aronson hate coming.
It's not hate. It's more of like a representation of why I see them at their ceiling being 10th. I like Anton Stack a lot. I think he's a good player. I think they have quality on the roster. I just don't think they have top half of the Premier League table quality.
Okay. I mean, listen, you took the words directly or basically out of my notes. I had the ceiling at 10th and their floor at 16th, which is exactly what you had. So we're equal on that. Mikey, what do you got for Leeds?
Leeds allowed 45 goals last season. I think they are going to allow less than 38 goals this season. I think they will have one of the top 5 defenses in the Premier League. I think their ceiling is 6th, and they will finish no lower than 11th.
That Larry Venmo is
right. How much is he paying you for this?
I really like this team. I mean, listen, I think they're big space to sign. I think Okafor's eventually going to play on the left and Harry Wilson's going to play on the right. Calvert-Lewin is still alone. That's a problem. They've been linked with some names in the 10 spot, but what I really think is, you saw this the other day, Stack was not playing well until his goal. And they don't really have another creative midfielder. They have guys like Ampadu, Longstaff, guys that can come in and do a job, but they are absolutely, Tanaka, are absolutely not ball progressors or creative players. So I think they need to find a good cover for Stack, but I do think that this team will be in Europe next season in some capacity.
One more time, can you repeat the numbers you said? Floor and ceiling?
6 and 11.
Bullshit. Okay.
6. That is.
I think they
spicy.
finish 6th or 7th in the league.
You're crazy.
This is a team that was like almost going to get relegated until Farka finally, switched his whole tactics.
Yeah,
up.
I think they're going to be just fine.
That's more than fine. That's pretty damn good. All right. Listen, we'll see how this.
Shout out Jed York, by the way, owner, great guy.
See, he's so biased on this one.
No, I don't think you've seen the news today. Sorry, that was just a little.
Oh, what happened?
He got arrested.
Oh. Never mind that. Oh my goodness.
He was.
I got to get out more or read the paper. All right, now we'll move up to 7th place, Manchester City. So, what needs to be said about them? They've lost, the best manager in the Prem at the time, maybe in one of the best ever in Pep. They losing, a Ballon d'Or winner in Rodri.
I hated that sentence. They're losing a Ballon d'Or winner in Rodri.
Rodri. Call them whatever you want. But anyway, they're losing a hell of a lot of sort of important, influential people, not just players, but people in Pep and Rodri. So, Mikey, where do you have, and obviously they're bringing in guys, Elliot Anderson, who knows who else they're going to bring in this window. I'm sure they're going to be spending more. But where you got City this season?
They can win.
So they're the only other team that you've said so far, right?
So far. There's still another one, but they can win the Premier League. And I don't think they finish lower than 4th.
Okay, so you
they
really
are going to
spend
them. By the time we speak again, they are going to have spent £250 million
just in between now and then.
Next week, no, I don't know, but they need to buy. I mean, they are so thin; it's shocking.
Oh.
And I'm not gonna do this anymore. I promised I wasn't gonna do it ever again. But if you look at the exodus and the way people are moving around that club, it sure as hell sounds like something's coming.
115. coming down
It
the pike.
sure as fuck does. I mean, listen, if you were to work backwards, right? If you were to say, like when you're solving a crime or something, like if you looked backwards, if right now all the charges came down and you looked at what's happened for the past month or 3 months, it would all make total sense with guys sprinting out of there, them not buying cover, them being really thin, um, making Maresca think that he's actually Pep. Like all this stuff is not real life. So I could totally see something happening and something happening soon.
And all those, I saw that tweet. I don't know if this was official or not about like UAE kind of messaging, coming down
Yeah,
hard on City would, would cause, geopolitical ramifications around the world.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know how serious that is. Mitch, what do you think on Man City here?
My numbers are the same, but I hadn't really been fitted for my tin hat yet until just now. That makes a ton of sense. I also have them at first and fourth, ceiling and floor. Uh, I'm now looking at the number and the the stature of players that have left over just the last 12 months. Reinders, Rodri, Trafford, Akanji, Ake, Bernardo Silva, John Stones, Sver Naipan. Um, any team with Erling Haaland can win the Premier League. That's a simple fact. But they look really, really light right now. They're going to be playing Champions League football. They're going to be making deep cup runs. And towards the business end of the season, I don't know if this roster, as it stands, has the depth to make a title push. They're going to be the lowest they're going to drop. The absolute lowest they will drop this season is probably fourth. And I don't think they'll finish there. I think they'll finish well above that. But I don't think they'll win. I think they have the capacity to.
I've got them, their floor and ceiling being anywhere from fifth to first, for all the reasons you guys have said before. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next, however long the transfer window's open. Because if they don't spend, then Mikey's sort of crystal ball / tinfoil hat prediction, that if they really don't spend, then I will be like, okay, they really know something. If they do spend, though, Mikey, if they do spend, would you kind of reconsider that?
I mean, I have them possibly winning it. So,
All right. I mean, they're still City, and they still have.
I bet it's going to come. My best bet is it's going to come down with like a massive fine, a long transfer window ban, and it's going to come out right after the transfer window closes this time around, and they will have already spent £500 million.
This window or the January window?
This one.
If we see like just a spat of huge buys from City, I think we know. I think
a ban's coming.
Yeah, we know
they have to make those purchases anyways. They're playing Phil Foden. Guy's a bum. They're playing academy kids like Phil Foden.
Oh, the Phil Foden hate. Where is he gone? So that's a conversation for a different podcast.
PFA Player of the Year, Phil Foden.
Yeah, the drop off has been precipitous. All right, Ipswich Town, a team newly promoted. They did win their first game. Your boy Enciso. That was a hell of an assist for their first goal. Good start though. A win at home against Sunderland, and not the way that Hull did it. Hull did it kind of the old fashioned way with set piece goals. Ipswich, they went toe to toe with Sunderland and beat them. So, Mitch, where do you got Ipswich Town finishing this season?
I have their ceiling at 15th. As with many newly promoted teams, I don't see them doing anything more than that. That would be extraordinary if they were to finish anything in 14 plus. And then I have their floor at 20th. I think they are the least good. Some may call it the worst out of all the newly promoted sides. And somebody's got to go back down.
Ooh, I'm with you on most of that. I got 15th through 20th. I do think that they're better than Hull City. I mean, if you just look at Hull City's season last time and how they just sort of backed their way into the Premier League, I know that's being a little unkind, but like they just were not a team that was ready for the Premier League, and they haven't done that much business in the summer. Now, obviously, beating Manchester United says other things, but I'm not that high in Hull City. Mikey, where you got them? Ipswich Town. We're talking about Ipswich Town here.
Yeah, huge window for them, honestly. I can see them finishing anywhere from 18th to 19th. They are going down. The thing that's lovely about Enciso is that he gives you these moments and then disappears with either an injury or something, or you have to search on FotMob to find what club he's at. He did just enough to prove that he's himself and a great player, and won't be there to help them fight for a real serious run. Enjoy this week. They are going down, and they will have had fun while they were here.
Yeah, listen, they'll always have week one. It was a good start.
That's right.
Next, we got sixth place at the moment, Chelsea, who beat Fulham 3-2. Obviously, a lot of movement here, as Chelsea does every single season. But bringing in Xabi Alonso, obviously a high-profile manager. Morgan Rogers, one of the most expensive buys of the summer. Lacroix from Palace. I mean, I could go through. They've got another 6 guys that they bought for more than 30 million. So the amount of ins and outs, it's tough to wrap your head around them. But that's what Chelsea does. So I'll go to you first, Mikey. Where you got Chelsea this season?
They can finish in second. I was going to say they were going to win I was going to put them at first, but I feel like saying 1 to 4 is not answering this question. I don't think they can win the Premier League with the back four that they have. I think they can make a push for a title. I think they can be alive till match week 34. But I do not think that this team is lifting a trophy. I also don't see this team with Xabi Alonso falling into a free fall or having LinkedIn Liam vibes. So I am going to say they have a very narrow window of 2 to 4.
Yeah. Well, coming off of a 10th place finish means that they're not playing, kind of like Spurs. They're not playing anything in the midweek, which definitely helps. Mitch, what do you got for Chelsea?
Similarly, I have them at 2 to 5. I think with the money that they've spent, it's hard to fall outside of Europe. They are going to get results against teams that they're better than. Their signings they're going to have hundreds of millions of dollars just sitting on the bench collecting dust. But they are a good side. They've proven it this week against Fulham. They can score goals. They're a little leaky. So, like Mikey said, I don't know if they win a title with this back four, but they can come in second for sure. And with Xabi Alonso, that's a man that I think is going to know how to manage a locker room full of expensive players. So second is my steal.
Right, and I think that's something that Pep, for all the sort of waxing poetic about his managerial skills, I still think that's an element of him as a manager that he probably didn't get enough credit for. When you bring in that many players and egos, it is tough to keep everybody on the same side. Alonso, if anybody, could do it, I feel like he's got kind of the pedigree and the resume for people to respect him. And he's done it at Leverkusen. So I think Real Madrid was just a total clown show. Yeah, Mitch?
LinkedIn Liam is at Paris FC now? I didn't know that. He's coaching in Ligue 1.
Good for Liam. That's awesome.
Wow.
LinkedIn Liam.
What did he do? He drew 0-0 to Troyes this weekend. We got Nice up next. I'm going to be following him out of spite this season.
Please.
just because.
I wouldn't be shocked if Mikey is actually LinkedIn friends with him at this point.
You know what I might do is fade $10 on him every single week and see what that compounds to.
Not the worst idea.
Just a spiteful content series.
Kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Okay.
Shout out LinkedIn Liam. Listen, the more LinkedIn Liam we can squeeze into every episode, the better. So Chelsea, you do not have them finishing, you could not see them finishing first, either one of you guys?
No.
All right. So Mikey, you still have one other team that could finish first, though?
Well, no, I was going to say it was Chelsea, City, and Arsenal, but...
Yeah, okay. I think Chelsea it would take some sort of miraculous thing. Like, it would take Arsenal, obviously, a huge step back. Man City has question marks. It would take some sort of miracle for Alonso to fix their defense to be at a title-winning level, which I don't know if I could see, especially with Sanchez and like a keeper. Like, that goal he gave up today, the first one, is like, how do you get beat near post from like the top of the 18? That's crazy. So that alone makes me want to say that like second is their ceiling, but I do think that they've got so many just interesting puzzle pieces that if he fits it together, maybe, if Arsenal goes on a Tottenham like run of injuries, it would take something miraculous. But I'm going to say that they've got first through sixth on their in their locker. Next we got Everton, the Moisaya. So Everton, what did I have written down for them this season? So they finished 13th last season. Their biggest or most expensive signing anyway was Brennan Johnson, which was really a swap deal with McNeil. They brought in some guys. Tyreek George, I thought was an interesting player. And they didn't really lose anybody. Idrissa Gueye moved to Saudi. I think that's about it. So they're sort of decent mid-table. For me, it just feels like, Moyes. You know what you're going to get from him. Like 10th place is basically like the goal. It might move up 2 places. It might move down 2 places. But I've literally have 9th through, I think, 14th for Everton. What do you got, Mitch?
Same exact thing, 9th through 14th. Don't have much more to say. You kind of covered all of it. Not much movement in the offseason, and they're going to be middle of the table meat.
All right. Christian Norgard from Arsenal. You guys know him well. Mikey,
he's
where
fresh.
You got? He's well rested.
I'm going to disappoint the masses and say that Everton are not as good as everybody thinks they are. I'm going to go 11 to 14. Don't kill me.
That's about where everybody has them. What are you talking about?
I don't think they can be a top half team.
Okay. All right. Next we got Hull City. 4th place at the moment. Let's give a quick shout out. Hull City up in 14th place or in 4th place in the table at the moment. This is a team that, well, I already sort of talked a lot of shit about them earlier in the episode. Everybody seems to have them finishing 20th. Mitch, any sort of shocking predictions here?
I don't think they finished 20th. I think they finished 19th. My window for them is 19 to 19.
Okay, that's the smallest one we've had so far. Yep. Do you have your 20th place Ipswich or
Ipswich? Yep.
Okay. All right. Mikey, what do you got for Hull City?
In 2016-2017, Hull City, led by Robert Snodgrass, won their first 2 games of the season against defending champion Leicester and away to Swansea. They had 14 players active for both of those matches. It was an amazing feat and an amazing performance. And by the end of the year, they finished with a minus 43 goal difference on 34 points and got relegated. Love Hull. Apparently the worst time to play them is in the first 2 weeks of the year. This is as absolute high as it's going to get. I have their floor at 20, and I have their ceiling at 20.
Come on.
I mean, I that's pretty much where I have them at. I think that they could finish 19th, but I think I love the fact that they won the first week, and I love the fact that you pulled out the historical stat there with them winning their first 2 games last time they were up. I do love you're getting mauled by a tiger goal celebration.
And something about the fans too. There were not a one of them was like fit or attractive or anything. Like if I was looking across at these like Hull aliens doing that at me and my train just got canceled, I'd be on Mars. Mars.
They're going to trigger so many people with that. And as Breezy says, basically they based on what Mikey said alone, you do have to bet them in week 2, and they play Coventry. So it's a very winnable game. So I do think that we may have to party bet Hull City to win that game.
Have to.
I mean, they just have to.
If they start the season on 6
points,
points,
we're all pretty out on Hull City.
I'm going to demand that you take back that ceiling
Oh,
being
man.
20th.
I knew he was going to say something good there, too. You're back.
I'm back. All right. I was gonna say if they start the season on 6 points with like a +5 goal differential, I'm going to demand that you take back that ceiling 20th shout and
No.
come on.
I need them to put me on the bulletin board every week and see if they can get out of this. Oh, see you, Mitch.
But I think because he's being recorded locally, I think we'll still get whatever
We will be fine.
mental level thoughts he was having there. But yes, the fact I love it. I am definitely betting them, even though I think Coventry is a better team. I'm going to have to bet them to beat Coventry next weekend. Just have to. We will move on to Arsenal. So tied on second in the table, actually in third. So Arsenal. I mean, I'll let you guys go first.
No. Please go.
No, I got nothing to say. Nothing nice to say. I mean, I have a lot of nice things to say. I just don't want to say them. Listen, this team, you hit the ground running. You're the only team that did that, pretty much, other than maybe Brighton. Like, you have no glaring holes. There's no gigantic questions, unlike with the Cities and the Chelseas and the Liverpools. Like, there's just, it's hard. I've done the math multiple times trying to just find a way for Arsenal not to win the title this season. I'm having a difficult time doing it.
So what's your numbers?
Well, I definitely have their ceiling being first. Floor, I would say third. I can't honestly see you guys finishing third, but I would say third is probably. I have to, whatever. You're gonna finish first. It sucks. I want somebody to beat you. I really want somebody to beat you. But other than like the championship hangover, what could take you down, Mikey?
I have to point out, Breezy just made an amazing call. The idea of you not trying to jinx there and going 1-1 is fucking batshit. Where is your instinct? Where is your
I'm losing my edge.
Yeah.
That's
How
true.
do you not do that?
Listen, I don't want to take your thing. Your thing is reverse jinxing, okay? So maybe me not reverse jinxing is the double reverse jinx, which makes it happen. That's what I'm going.
I think the ceiling for this team is 100 points. And I think the floor for this team is 85 points. And I think that is 1 and floor 2 if a miracle happens somewhere else in the Prem.
Yeah, that seems about right. Mitch, anything to add?
First and second, floor and ceiling. It's somebody needs to come and take the crown off our head. They really need to do something special. This team looks so complete, so good. I think you've left your. I'm now speaking directly to you, Samuel. Your attacking mentality and your hunger for rivalry. I think you've left that at the bottom of the table last season, and you've yet to pick it up. We are in match week 1 of the Premier League right now, and you are submitting to Arsenal's will without a fight. You are complimenting us, and you are saying, yeah, you guys are really good. You guys are probably going to win the league. It's not fun if you don't fight back.
Listen, I will fight back and I will talk shit, but in this episode where we're supposed to give unbiased predictions,
we unbiased. Who said that? I put Leeds in
rule number one. Rule number 1. Only unbiased.
I didn't get that memo.
Spurs in third.
He did.
Unbiased. Yeah. Unbiased.
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
I mean, it just goes to show, like, it's tough to, see a world where somebody beats, Arsenal this season at the moment. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm just not happy about this. But it's the world in which we live. So there you go. Fuck, I hate this world. All right, Brentford. They are currently, I guess, tied with you guys at second place. Brentford is an interesting club. They obviously just beat the bejesus out of Tottenham and look good doing it. They're not the first, won't be the last, unfortunately. But this is a team I'm high on Brentford. I think they're going to be a problem this season. Where do you got them, Mitch?
And they looked good. That is a team that is very intentionally put together. Players know their roles. They know where each other are going to be. And granted, they were playing a lower quality side in Spurs, but I'm pretty high on Brentford. I don't think they're top four. I have their ceiling at 5, and I have their floor at 10. I think they're a lock for top half. They would have to do something pretty sensational to crack top 4, but they are going to give some really difficult sides some problems this year. That's a really good team.
Yeah. I this is the one team where I did change my predictions after week 1 because they looked good. So I moved them up a little bit. I do think that they could finish 4th, but the bottom, I mean, there's no way they'd finish like below 10th. I think that may even be a harsh. This team, they're just good and they do good business. Sangare from Lens, like for 48 million, that's half what we paid for, guys that we're expecting more out of. So yeah, shout out to Brentford. Obviously they know what they're doing. And Keith Andrews, by the way, it was so funny when everybody was talking about him being like a set piece coach. If you hear him talk, the guy has, maybe he doesn't have the resume of like Michael Carrick, but when you hear him talk, maybe it's the Irish accent or something. I'm like, okay, I would whatever he says, I would do. Mikey, what do you got for Brentford?
Oh.
Well, not like that. Don't clip that.
Okay. Oh. Whatever, man.
Mikey,
what was the question? What do you want? What do you want me to do to an
what
Irish?
would you let Mikey Keith Andrews do to you?
Not as much as you would. I'm going to say Brentford is one of those teams. By the way, this is such a generic thing to say, but when Leicester won the Prem that season, they had 77 points, 75 points or something. Not to say that Brentford is a title challenger to anybody, but if they caught the right Prem, the way they play and the way they're organized, I think they could be a top 4 side. I do think that they have everything that is required to make an actual push up of a domestic table in any country. They have good infrastructure. They have I've talked to Tommy about this. The system, like Janelle pops the ball into that channel, guys run onto it. Shada can kind of play as a double 9 kind of winger player. Like they have a very simple, organized system. Sangare fits great. Their recruitment's great. All that to say, I think that their absolute ceiling this year is 4th. I do think that they can be a top 4 side if people capitulate, right? Like I think Arsenal is an outlier here, but if you remove Arsenal from the Premier League this year and you look at that, I would with a straight face be able to tell you that Brentford could potentially win the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, like Leicester won the Premier League, right? And as remarkable and incredible as that was, I mean, Brentford is a far better team.
No,
like just on no, I mean, like what you would expect. Like obviously, Leicester had these players that we just did. We were totally dismissing the
Mahrez,
the talent. Yes, Mahrez and Conte and that sort of thing. But like on paper, like Brentford, this is a solid team, and
they're recruiting well enough though to think like, why can't they find those guys? Why can't their recruitment bring in a Conte or something like that? So I do truly think that this is a special team, and the fact that they're based in London is going to help them forever stay in this league. So I think you could see Brentford playing Champions League football next year, 100%. I think their lowest is 7th. I think they are a European team in next season.
And they're not playing in Europe this year, which helps a little bit.
I will make a bold claim that they will be in Europe next year alongside Leeds.
Far less bold, by the way, than the Leeds call. Last and never least, Brighton, coming off of a very impressive, if not the most impressive, win of the weekend. The fact that they put up 4 goals in like the blink of an eye on an Aston Villa team that, yes, they lost a bunch of people, and so they're in a bit of there's some movement there, but this is a good Villa team, and they just dominated. I was very impressed by this Brighton team. What do you think, Mitch, is the actual ceiling for this team?
All 4 of those goals came before the red card as well,
Right.
mind you.
Important to point out.
This was a dominant performance. Villa went into the halftime just head in the hand, really looking like, when is this 90th minute whistle going to come? I think this Brighton team, I mean, I don't want to overreact to this week 1 result because it was really, like, they showed up, Villa didn't. I think the Brighton ceiling is 5th. I think they're a top half team. I have their floor at 9th, excuse me. And I don't think that floor is realistic. I think really it's probably 5 to 8. I forget where they finished last year, but it's around that 8.
They
mark,
finished 8th.
Yeah.
8th. Yeah.
So I think they overperformed from what they did last season. It's hard not to overreact to that result in week 1, though. Like, you just watch that with a smile on your face. They look fluid. They all look like they're on the same page. Taking down a talented team in Aston Villa. Yeah, I think they could scrape into Champions League. I think it's more realistic that they're fighting for Europa.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a club where, like, you can never sort of question their transfer moves. I didn't like them letting Welbeck walk out the door. I do think that, he was a huge player for them and scored, some incredibly important goals. And to just let him walk, I thought it was a little surprising. But at the end of the day, like, you can't question their decision-making when it comes to, players coming in and out. I love the Vuskovic. I hated the fact that they got Vuskovic for Tottenham, but I thought they got him for a pretty low price. And so, yeah, I'm with you. Like, this is a team kind of like Brentford that is going to be pushing for Champions League. Where do you got them, Mikey?
I think they're going to lose to Chelsea next week, and we're going to be having a different conversation. And then when they eventually draw with Leeds, we're going to be sitting on 4 points. We're going to be looking at them in the middle of the table and remember that they are Brighton. I think I'm going to put them with the rest of the schmucks, 6 to 12. I don't have many lower. Yeah, the teams that I can't tell apart, yeah, they're in the schmuck range. I don't quite put them at the Brentford level, but I also don't think they're at the Everton level. I think they're a better schmuck than Everton and the worst one than Brentford.
So Brentford is in the schmuck category?
Top schmuck.
Best schmuck. Okay. All right, there we go. Easy peasy. Nice little season preview for everybody. We will now move to stoppage time. Put a bow on this episode. So we will start with where we start every stoppage time segment. With Ivan Toney's Best Bets, where we always start with the overtrain. And I feel good about this week's picks. Feel real good. We're going to start again. So this is a 5-a-side, Wednesday through Sunday, 1 a day, overs. And these are all going over 3.5, by the way. That's a new strategy here. So we're going to start on Wednesday with the Champions League second leg qualifier. Viking hosting Dinamo Zagreb.
A lot of goals in the first one.
Yep, and a lot of open play, and I do think that they're going to recreate that. So Wednesday we're Viking and Dinamo Zagreb. Thursday we're going to Europa, where RB Salzburg is hosting Mjällby. Friday we're going to the Eredivisie, where Groningen is hosting Fortuna Sittard. Saturday, Tottenham. My beloved Tottenham Hotspur is hosting Newcastle, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's a lot of goals there. And then Sunday, we're going to the Norwegian second division, where Moss is hosting Strømmen. So there we go. Wednesday through Sunday, 1 a day. These are all going over. Mitchell, what do you got? Oop, mute.
Thank you. I got 3 for you. All these are on Saturday. You're going to put them all together. Liverpool -1.5 at home against Forest. Draw between Coventry and Hull City. As much as I would love to see Hull City go and take 3 points, I think a draw is pretty realistic here. And then Lens money line against Strasbourg. Lens is going to be my horse this season. I am going to get behind them because from what I've seen early and in friendlies from them, beast. Really good side. So I think if you put all of those together, you are at plus 1550. Guaranteed.
And Lawrence, that's where the new Crystal Palace manager came from, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a big affinity for that club. You also, when you own the club, you own the yachting place that's next door. Sam, I think asked a question once 5 years ago, if you could own a club, which would you buy? And I picked Lons, and I explained how you own the yachting club and a bunch of other like famous like sporting. They're big in like racket sports. They have like the club is a part of the soccer club is a part of a larger entity at Lons. It's very cool.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow, I wiped that clean from my brain. Glad you brought that back up. What do you got? Ivan Toney's best bet.
So I haven't even looked at this for this week, but I'm going to just make some snap judgments here. I fully believe in the Hull City thing, so I'm going to take Ollie McBurney to score a goal, and I'm going to take Hull City money line and McBurney to score a goal. We're going to put best bets on history, and we're going to do a little snodgrassing. So I'm going to say Hull beats Coventry and Ollie scores, whatever that is. I'll take it.
All right. Our individual bet Meister is back for more. All right. Everybody's favorite segment goes to close out the show. Mitch, why don't you go first?
I don't have one I feel great about today. One of them is the old trailer park buddy. I'll save that one for Mikey. I kind of liked, this is recency, but Aubameyang, who apparently is still alive and playing in La Liga, had a goal today in a game that I was watching. Listen, I'm super unemployed right now, so I'm watching Monday La Liga games between Malaga and Deportivo La Coruña. And Aubameyang made this like really fast vintage run from 30 yards out and broke through the lines and chipped it around the keeper. And it just gave me flashbacks. It gave me a little bit of memories of a simpler time before we had won a title with this team. So I want to pay my respects to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang today.
I was going to say, that bringing you flashbacks to a much happier time in some of our lives.
Happier, no. Simpler, yes.
No, happier for me.
Yeah.
And simpler. Although it does sound like you're the right amount of unemployed right now, or employed, because you're paying for your rent, but you're also watching, La Liga on Monday afternoon.
He's coming to visit me on Thursday.
I'm creatively employed. Yeah, I'm taking a train down to Philly on Thursday, and Mikey and I are going to smoke some beers.
And we're going to go live.
Yeah.
Get in the Discord. I haven't told anybody about the Discord. Listen, that's a reason to get in the Discord right now. You'll get access to Mikey and Mitch smoking beers, which I actually do want. You guys got to FaceTime me for that.
Sure.
Mikey, who's your Goa?
Well, first Goa is Breezy from the Discord for pointing out that Sam looks identical, hairline and all, to Mikkel Damsgaard.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, it is.
For those of you that have only ever listened to the pod, let me paint a perfect picture for you. Sam looks like Mikkel Damsgaard. That's all. You don't need to change anything about him. Just watch the game and be like, holy shit, that's the podcast guy.
Much preferred the Danny Ings parallels back in the day.
You're not nearly cool enough to be Danny Ings.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But I also don't have the hairline to be Damsgaard. That's crazy.
How often are you looking at yourself? I've looked at you more than most people in the last 10 years of our lives together.
It's true.
But I would say that comfortably Mikkel Damsgaard it's more of a lookalike than Mitch and Maupe.
No.
I think it's identical.
No, first of all, you're in your lying era, so everybody keep that in mind.
Did you just learn about saying in the blank era? Is this a thing that you just discovered?
Yes, it is.
But you being in your lying era, finally brought it to the surface.
Like this for 10 years.
No. You've taken lying to a new level over the last, say, 12 months or so. It's actually really impressive. You got to be in the Discord.
Well, I will say that's one of my two goes. I would say Breezy for pointing out the absolute inevitable. The other one is a tweet I saw. Most of these are tweets, and it was Hull City's mascot's just a brick.
I think they have two. I think they actually
It's
have a
just a
tiger
guy
as
in a
well.
brick costume.
I
And
don't understand that.
that the reason I love the sport is shit like that. Like one time somebody probably said like, "Oh, we're like a brick wall," and then some guy in marketing was like, "We're putting a brick on the sideline. Jim, you're wearing it. We're the bricks now, and we're fucking doing this." And like, it's like when you like somebody gets called like spiller because he spilt a pint his first time at the pub 25 years ago or something. Like the idea of Hull being the bricks, I don't know where it comes from. Somebody please let me know. But them having a brick mascot for no reason is perfect. Welcome to the Prem. Welcome back to the Prem, Hull City.
I mean, listen, the championship is, like a half step remove. It's kissing cousins to minor league baseball, where, they basically look for ways to get people in the door. Doesn't matter how. And especially, I guess, when you get down to like League One, then you really are talking like AAA baseball. It's the same goddamn thing. Yeah, the brick. I saw that. I actually saw that they had the mascot, and I didn't even like sort of think, why the fuck does Hull City have a brick mascot?
It's perfect.
Makes no goddamn sense. All right. Well, good shout, guys. I'm gonna give my go to Turkey, or Turkey A, I guess is how we're calling it now.
Yeah, fitting. You need hair.
No, not for that. My hairline is not great, but it's nowhere near the fact you're basically making parallels with Dan
I just know that this is right. I knew it would get under your skin. You've already lost.
Not the greatest hairline, but it's way better than Damsgaard.
You've lost.
No, I'm giving it to Turkey A, and not for their hair reconstructive surgery prowess. It's because the Turkish authorities reportedly are either threatening or actually jailing a journalist by the name of Burhan Khan Terzi for tweeting bullshit rumors about Jamal Musiala supposedly moving from Bayern to wherever it is in Turkey. And the fact that he just like keeps tweeting it, and the government is cracking down on these bullshit transfer rumors. I fucking love that. Everywhere else needs to do the same thing and get rid of these rumor monger, industrial complex that
jail fab.
Exactly. Just get them all out. We don't need them. When the club announces that a player has been bought or sold, then we care. Before that, fuck it. I do not care. So shout out to Turkey. Hopefully you guys are leading. You're in the vanguard of this anti-rumor mongering thing that's become just totally accepted as a normal life. All right, there we go, boys. Mitch, Mikey, everybody in the Discord, especially Breezy. You guys are the best. If you're not in the Discord, honestly, get there now. We just got a couple new additions, some fresh blood, and it's just the coolest little community of soccer sickos. So get in there now on the Sam's Army Patreon. And we will see you guys again soon. Bigger, better, maybe faster, stronger. And by the way, shout out to our guy, Tyler Terrens. Congrats on his first kid. Shout out to him.
Has a baby.
Shout out to him and Shannon. Well done, sir and ma'am. And there we go. See you guys soon. Oops.